welcome. You're having a wonderful concert on the 30th with an interesting program. And I'm wondering, how did you both meet and start working together?
We met today for the first time.
Oh, really?
And we rehearsed for the first time today, so it's very new. And we connected on Instagram, we messaged. That's how we decided what we were going to play.
But the initial idea, it was from Verbier to bring us together. And I think it's your first time to play with other cellists than Checo.
Yes, actually, yeah.
So it's official cheating, proved by...
So what's it like if you are actually only meeting for the very first time? Chamber music, so intimate, you know, it's a conversation between players. How do you know, is it an instant connection when you sit in the room together, you understand each other within a minute, or does it take time? What's that sort of chemistry?
Well, it's different every time, but I actually have to say this felt very natural, very instinctive.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was so easy to play with you. So, yeah, I don't know, spontaneous. It's like conversation with somebody with whom you just like to exchange, and that was super nice. Mm-hmm.
But in many ways, you two come from musical families, so you do have something in common from the top, right?
The only thing that I'm an only child. Well, I have a half sister who plays the piano, but yeah, I grew up as an only child, and I was always demanding my parents for siblings, but that didn't happen. You're so lucky you can play all the repertoire of chamber music with all your siblings.
Yeah, well, not all. We don't have wind or brass, but yeah, a lot.
It might come. You never know.
Well, now
not,
it won't.
Not with your generation. With your generation.
yeah, maybe later.
Yes,
maybe
later on.
Yeah.
The definition of an in-house ensemble, I think it's fair to say. What do you then learn from playing together, talking to one another about your experiences, like the last, conversations you've been having just today? What have you learned about each other that you could maybe share with us?
I feel like I just mostly learn through how you play. You play in a particular way and then I respond to that, and it feels very spontaneous and it feels very free. We haven't actually spoken that much, which also is a testament to a good rehearsal in my eyes.
Yeah, same, yeah. And I don't know, it just feels so natural to make music with you. And Isata has an incredible feeling of a time, and she just... radiates the calmness, and that's such an incredible feeling for me, because I'm rather a nervous type, and it's so nice to feel that to feel this safe space that you give, and it's really amazing.
It's very nice that you look at each other like this. You can see the connection in this conversation.
Well,
yeah. Well, when we play, we don't have much chance to look at it.
All through the ear, all listening.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing. We played we rehearsed today for the first time some of the difficult pieces, like, for example, romances by Clara Schumann or Nadia Boulanger, 3 pieces. These are quite tricky chamber music works. They could be awkward in some moments, and you don't know who goes where and what is the timing. But it was, from the first time, I was like, when we played it, I looked at you and was like, wow, that felt so easy and so just, yeah.
But also you was just very clear. I always felt like I knew where you wanted to go, and then I would go there, and then, musical conversation.
And speaking about this repertoire, I mean, you definitely, Clara Schumann and Nadia Boulanger were both composers who kind of abandoned the idea of being composers. I mean, they were surrounded, Clara Schumann, by Robert and Brahms, and Nadia by, her sister. She thought her sister was much more gifted as a composer. So in a way, they themselves decided not to compose or not to have their things played so much. Yeah. So why do you want to, I think it's a wonderful thing, but I'm wondering, how did you decide to get to that repertoire?
Well, we had actually a conversation about the program, and I think we both agree that it's great to have in both half of the programs women composers, and that's I think it's a must-have in today's world. But
they were not just women composers; they were good composers, and they were forgotten, and they themselves censored themselves in a way.
Exactly, and I think also what's so special about these pieces is they're quite short, but the composers say so much, they bring so much music to just 3 short pieces, which I think is such an example of a fantastic composer, and so I think we both want to showcase that, basically.
Can you take us inside their sound world? Because, of course, Clara Schumann, a composer you've been so associated with, Isata, I think it was your debut album, wasn't it? wasn't it, of Clara
Yes,
Schumann?
and I recorded these romances on that album.
And it was the top of the UK classical chart, so well done for that. How would you describe the sound of, though? How would you describe, a little plug, how would you describe the sort of the style of writing, comparisons with other composers? Just give us a sense of Clara Schumann as a writer.
I mean, Clara Schumann for me is romantic and sentimental without overblowing anything, and that's incredibly effective and incredibly moving. And then Boulanger, she's... Maybe you have better words for this.
More impressionist, I would say, no? Especially in these works, she's really... it's such a wonderful beginning of a concert, or in our case, the second half, you know, when audience just entry and, you know, it always takes some time, some minutes, some seconds to enter into the world of the music. And this first piece of the three pieces by Boulanger is really just opens the door and you're there within seconds, because she, in the first three bars, she creates such a magic atmosphere, such a world of sound that you're completely taken by it.
I played the Clara Schumann. I'm an actor, so I played her in a.
The romances.
No. As her, I was Clara.
A 90-minute monologue.
I was
Sorry,
her.
yes,
But
amazing.
so and one of the things, of course, that's interesting to me is that she was very, very famous, way more famous than her husband, and she was Clara Wieck. And in a way, I'm wondering. So this is a question to you. Did she afterwards, when we say Clara Schumann wrote this? Is this the way that she signed her compositions, or that we have decided to call them by Clara Schumann instead of Clara Wieck Schumann? Just because it's an interesting thing in some ways, you know.
Well, I actually think she signed herself Clara Wieck until she got married, and then she did sign herself Clara Schumann. But I think now a lot of her pieces, we assign the name Clara Wieck because then it helps to kind of separate her from her husband, and can, because in her time she was seen in her own right, but as the years have gone by, sometimes she gets lumped in with her husband. So keeping her maiden name kind of helps us to, remember who she is.
She's the one who made Robert famous.
Exactly.
We forget that.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Seriously.
So we have to be reminded.
Yeah, we have to remind that to the world.
Gave birth to many children.
On top of that,
8
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And had this
casual.
career. And supported the family. Really, she's the one who was
Superwoman.
Unbelievable.
Well, speaking of families, let's sort of go back in time and your earliest encounters with music. Can you just sort of describe the households that you grew up in, the kind of sounds that were filling the house, and maybe some of the early lessons that you were learning as musicians and as humans?
Oh, you're the oldest sister.
Yes, I'm the oldest of 7, so I grew up with a lot of noise. Well, music, but sometimes it is just noise when you're children. And so my musical education was very immersive. You know, hearing it around the house, we would go to lessons together, we would talk about music, we'd perform to each other. And so it felt very much just part of a community. And I always had great teachers, and we went to concerts and we watched documentaries, like we'd watch the Jacqueline Dupre documentaries and Daniel Barenboim, things like that. Those were kind of my early experiences and encounters.
Oh, amazing. Mine too. I was also watching some videos. By that time, was only available on internet, you know, and every time, I think it was early days of YouTube. So, you know, every new video, like documentary or some little clip uploaded by Dupre, you know, by fans of Dupre about her, it was absolutely, you know, fascinating for me. And but I'm as I said, an only child, and my parents are both musicians. My dad is a composer, so he was writing operas at home, and I had to be quiet, not to disturb him. And but yeah, I thought actually everybody plays musical instrument or does music, because it was so natural in a way. I just loved dancing and singing, and somehow. I started with the piano, but there are some videos of me, like 3 years old, trying to meet and being frustrated of not, you know, I think I was not very gifted pianist.
For me with the violin, because I also played the violin, but my brother quickly overtook me, and I felt more natural with the piano. So
It's amazing to see that you guys are definitely not my generation. You speak about you two connecting on Instagram, you know, I mean, before that it was not like that, obviously, no?
Yeah, what do you think youth brings? Does youth bring, you know, I'm 26, does it bring a different kind of energy? I'm a composer, so I sort of imagine how that might shape what I write. Do you feel like your age shapes how you play?
I don't know if I've ever felt. Well, obviously, I've only ever been the age I have. I've never been older than the age I am. But I don't know if I felt youth as a particular advantage, because I feel like I learn more and more year by year. And so each year I feel like I have more to say. I think maybe some people with youth, it can bring a freedom or a spontaneity. Maybe you're less self-conscious, but that's not necessarily the case at all, I think. And actually, many people as they get older shed those skins more and are able to be more themselves. So I think it really depends on the person.
I think that what is the difference to the younger generation is that the world has changed, and for example, the position of women in the society is different to the times when I grew up. You know, in my time, when I was a child, there were mostly only men conductors, and now we see such a change, and I think that's certainly an influence for younger generations in football teams, you know, being placed at the television and to the center of attention of people, and that's I think that's a huge change, and that's great. No? And
it's good to be alive now.
Despite all the problems of our world, despite all the shaking.
Well, we look forward to your concert on Wednesday. Thank you for taking the time to come in and see us.